Okay, this video is going to be the second part of our review for stoichiometry and for chemical reactions. The reaction we're going to do is aluminum sulfate plus barium iodide to make aluminum iodide plus barium sulfate. How many moles of barium iodide are required to react with 3 moles of aluminum sulfate? So I recognize mole to mole, so this is going to be a one-step reaction. So I'm putting my bridge in the middle here. I have 3 moles of aluminum sulfate, so 3 moles of Al2SO4, parenthesis 3. And I want to know barium iodide moles. Okay, this one's on top, so I know I'm going to have moles of barium iodide on top. This one's on top here, so it's going to go down over here. Moles of aluminum sulfate. And all I have to do now is look to my balance equation. There's a 3 in front of the barium iodide there. And there's a 1 here. We don't write 1s, remember that, so I put a 1 here. So then I take 3 times 3 over 1, which the answer just becomes 9. So 9 moles of barium iodide are required to react. Next. How many grams of aluminum iodide are produced from 13.4 grams of barium iodide? Well, this is a gram to gram, so I know it's going to be a 3-stepper. I notice what I did is I put all the molar masses for each of the compounds on top here to save time. So I'm going to do a 3-stepper, so I'm going to start here. I have to go all the way over here, put my equal sign, get my 3 blanks going. Okay, so we're trying to find grams of aluminum iodide here from barium iodide, so I'm going to put my 13.4 grams of barium iodide here. Now we know the pattern of this. I'm going to put a mole and mole on the bottom here. I'm going to put 1 mole here automatically and put 1 mole here. All right, let's fill in the details. Well, we're all about barium iodide initially. So then I know on the bottom here is going to be the 391 for the grams of barium iodide. Over here, we're all about aluminum iodide. So I know I'm going to put the grams, the molar mass for aluminum iodide here. And again, I know aluminum iodide will be on top here because it's on top over here, and I know barium iodide will be on the bottom over here. So now all I got to do is look to my balanced equation. I have a 2 in front of my aluminum iodide there, and I have a 3 in front of my barium iodide there. So what are we going to do mathematically? Okay, well, I'm going to take 13.4, I'll divide by 391, times by 2, divided by 3, times 408 equals. My answer is 9.32 grams of aluminum iodide. I notice I'm keeping 3 significant digits in my answer because all my molar masses are in 3 significant digits, and this is in 3 significant digits. So that's gram-gram stoichiometry. All right, our last one's going to be a limiting reactant. How can we tell? There are 2 reactant values given here, and we want to find out how many grams of barium sulfate are made by these 2 here. I like to guess the limiter because I know I'm going to need to do 2 stoichiometries, so I want to guess the limiter. So I'm looking at these molar masses are about the same, and the grams are about the same. Oh, but I need 3 times the amount of barium iodide than aluminum sulfate. So I'm going to guess barium iodide is the limiter. So I'm going to start with my limiter guess. So I've got a 3-step stoichiometry. And I want to find out how many grams of aluminum sulfate are required. So I'm getting this all ready here again. So I want to prove that my guess for the limiter is correct. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my limiter. I've got 25.6 grams of barium iodide, 25.6 grams of BaI2. How many grams of aluminum sulfate are required to react with that many grams? Now notice how there's actually a little bit more grams of barium iodide than aluminum sulfate, but we cannot compare grams. We got to go through stoichiometry. Okay, so I'm going to put the 1 mole here. I'll put mole over mole in the middle immediately. And I'll put 1 mole down here. Now we're all about barium iodide over here, so I'm going to put BaI2 here. Barium iodide is 391, so I'll put that there. Let me go ahead and put my BaI2 here also. On this side we're all about aluminum sulfate, so that's 342. And we put that over here too. Okay, now I need my numbers in front of barium iodide. That's a 3 there, so I'll put a 3 here. There's a 1 here for this one, so I'll put a 1 here. All right, now what am I going to do mathematically? Here it goes. I'm going to take 25.6. I'm going to divide that by 391. I'll divide that by 3 and times by 342 equals 7.46 grams. Okay, now that's all I need, 7.46 grams of aluminum sulfate. We were given 21.6. So aluminum sulfate is more than what's needed. It's definitely the excess. So our limiter clearly is the barium iodide. So now our question was, how many grams of barium sulfate are produced? So I'm going to do one more stoichiometry. And I'm going to figure out how many grams of barium sulfate are produced. But I'm going to use the limiter again. Because if I use the excess, I will over-calculate how much there would be for our product. Okay, so I want barium sulfate. Over here, I'm going to put my 25.6 grams of barium iodide. Okay, now all of this stuff's going to stay the same then. 1 mole of barium iodide over 391 grams of barium iodide. I know I have a 3 mole of barium iodide. Okay, now let's deal with barium sulfate. I know this is going to be the BaSO4 here. I know this is going to be BaSO4. And I'm going to get the 233 right there. Grams of BaSO4. Now look up here, I see that there's also a 3, so I'm going to put a 3 here for that. So now mathematically, let's get that solved. 25.6 divided by 391 times 3 divided by 3, well that's just 1. So times 233 equals 15.3 grams of barium sulfate are produced. Now again, you must use the limiter because the excess, you're going to overcalculate how much gets produced. Not all of the aluminum sulfate's reacted. And speaking of which, what if I wanted to know how many grams of aluminum sulfate are left over? Well, then what I'll do is I'll take 21.6 minus 7.46. So 21.6 minus 7.46 That gives me 14.1 grams left over. So I took the amount of grams I was given and I've subtracted my 7.46 that I calculated before to get what's left over.